Nice. Well, that didn't take long. On the old swim jig. Oh. Well, I don't know exactly what happens today. We're on another new lake in northern Wisconsin, actually central northern Wisconsin. And this water's clear enough. Maybe we're throwing swim jigs today. Don't miss this episode. This is Hook and Hunt TV. There we go. Right along that weed edge. Yeah, some nicer fish there. Show you something here. We can get him in here. There we go. Man, that fish is pretty right there. Nothing super huge yet, but and they're fat. We're fishing really clear water today, and one of the things one of my search baits in the summertime, we're fishing outside weed edges, just like this stick up grass right here. It's probably only about 3 or 4 foot of water, but right now I'm just throwing a simple 3/8 ounce swim jig. It's got this sexy bluegill skirt on it and just a little Shield swim minnow. I use that little 3.8 for so many different things. It's great, and all I'm doing right now is being a search lure. Since this is a new lake that we're at, I always you've got vertical and you've got horizontal presentations, and most of the time I'm going to start with those horizontal presentations, just trying to get a pulse for what the fish are doing. So far, both those fish, even though they're not big, ate it really, really good. So we're just going to keep going along this grass line, put the puzzle together. Now they're eating the swim jig good. Come here, you. That's better too. Look how they're eating that thing. I had them make this swim jig with a nice, look how, see how where that hook is right there? With absolutely no effort whatsoever. And there you go. I will tell you one thing, they are pretty in this lake. We've been moving around a lot today, and so far it seems that when we're fishing a little bit deeper, then we're catching them on that Tokyo rig tube craw, and then when we go up shallow, if we find some shade, and it's hard because the wind's really picked up, then we're throwing that swim jig and they're climbing all over it. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't let people tell you can't catch fish at midday. You just have to adjust a little bit, and that's what we're doing now. This segment of Hook and Hunt TV is brought to you by these and other fine sponsors. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing with this swim jig, and I'm fishing it just on 7-foot rod here, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want to show you how I'm working it. When the swim jig that I'm throwing right now, I have just a little Shields Pro Swimmer on the back of it, and when I make the cast, what I'm doing is kind of holding my rod up here around that 10, 11 o'clock, or 1, 2 o'clock position, and I'm shaking my rod as I'm reeling that bait. So that bait is always kind of just going back and forth like this. Most of the time I don't reel it in just straight. My rod tip is always shaking. So that bait is always kind of swaying back and forth, swaying, moving. When I get to a little area or a little hole, for instance in the grass, where I think there might be a fish, if I can see it, then I just kind of stop, let the bait fall a little bit, and then keep up my thing. I'm always trying to do something different with that swim jig, letting that skirt flare, letting that tail do its work on the fall. It's very rarely do I ever just do a straight retrieve. So I'm just casting it out. I'll show you again here. Just kind of develop a rhythm, and that way my rod is in a position where when I get a strike, I can easily just load back on the rod. I'm throwing 40-pound braid, so I don't really have any problem with the fish. They usually just set the hook on themselves. So remember that when you're throwing a swim jig, a lot of times just don't throw it out and reel it back in. Shake that rod tip, get yourself a good rhythm going. You come up something where you think there might be a fish, pause, let it fall, and then keep that retrieve. Doing something different, pausing that bait, that's what gets those fish to strike. Yeah, there you go. Still eating a swim jig. We've really had to move around a lot today to figure out stuff. We're getting on some of the deeper grass right now, and Kirk caught a real nice one, and some of the fish are getting a little bit bigger. This lake is so shallow that we're on 5 or 6 foot deep is getting deep, because most of the stuff we're seeing is like 2 foot. So even a small change in depth is really putting fish. So we're going to move out even a little bit deeper on some weed lines to see what we can do from there. But piece by piece. That Tokyo rig is always works.
There we go.
Good job.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stay in the boat. There you go. Nice one.
Yeah.
Much better.
A better one for the day.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
This segment of Hook and Hunt TV is brought to you by these and other fine sponsors. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, look at the little change we made here. Okay. Look at the little change we made here. Yeah, buddy. So, look at that one right there. Let me step on a trolling motor here. There you go. Right there. All right, nice largemouth there. Okay, so, put this back here. Here's a little change that we made here. These really clear lakes, when you go north like this, a little jig is always good. And this is just a little Lure Parts Online. Big surprise there. Green pumpkin, a little purple, with just a little craw trailer right there. When you come north like this, these little jigs can be deadly in the summertime when you're fishing these shallow docks. There you go. That was it. Good.
Oh man.
On that tube again?
Underneath the docks.
Good.
We had to
Close to deeper water again. Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Come here, little buddy.
Those have definitely been the ticket today.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Nice.
Yeah. On that tube again.
Mm-hmm.
So here are the baits that we used today. Although we caught fish on several different things, when we really started keying in on what was going on, two baits really stood out. And when we hit the deeper weed lines, which weren't very deep, but for this lake, 5 to 7 foot is pretty deep. So I was fishing a Tokyo rig here, VMC Tokyo rig with a 3/8 VMC tungsten weight. And that has a 4.0 wide gap VMC hook on there. And also I have the Big Bite Baits tube crawl, which is one of my favorite things to throw on his Tokyo rig, and that was in watermelon red. And Kirk was doing very well on that, throwing that on 17-pound Suffix fluorocarbon. And the rod I was throwing that on was Bushido Blank American Tackle. That was a 7.3 10 to 20. It's got a little bit faster tip. It's great for a Tokyo rig and really sets the hook really well. 7-to-1 gear ratio reel on that. Needed that higher gear ratio to pick up line. Now throwing a swim bait, a rod that we've used a ton before, and that's at 6.8 medium heavy fast Bushido Blank 10 to 20 on that. And I was throwing a bait that I made from Lure Parts Online, and this is a 3/8 ounce Power Stroke swim jig. It's in the sexy bluegill color, and I have the bluegill colored Shields Pro Swimmer on the back of that. You've seen us use that Pro Swimmer a lot this year, and it works on so many different things. You've seen it on bladed jigs, you've seen it just throwing it, you saw us snap jigging it, and on the back of this swim jig, it's absolutely perfect. And all we were doing was bringing it through the grass, throwing it up shallow in the shade. We'd get to something, just let it fall, and the fish were reacting really good to that. Really clear water, really shallow lake. We found a little bit deeper water and some shade, and that was the ticket to our success. There you go. Nice fish there. What a fun time today. Yeah, there you go. Get in here. Yeah. Oh man, that is a fun way to end the day. Oh God, he ate that swim jig. When you make your own jigs, folks, it's absolutely fantastic, and that swim jig really, really did it for us today. Oh man, what a nice way. Just a great, beautiful fish. Let's put this one back. Ben, thanks so much for joining us. I love Wisconsin. We love fishing here. It's always a great time. Hey, before you leave, please make sure you check out all the sponsors that help bring Hook and Hunt TV to you each and every week. You can easily do that at hookandhunttv.com. You can also check out our channels on Roku and Fire TV, as well as like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Until next time, God bless you. I'm Jim Crowley. We'll see you soon.
On a special night.